Hey, George, how are you? Hey, you're probably driving. You're on mute. Okay. It's just you and I right now, it seems. I know Michelle's not going to be able to make it today. So what I was going to record is just some,
Sorry,
there
unmute.
you are. Hey, how are you today?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Well, let's start off with you. What do you have cooking?
Um, so far it's my same clients. Um, we are trying, we're exploring the possibility of getting them to search before they sell. Um, but their pre-qual came back a little low, so we're gonna have to sell if they want to get something in Watsonville, at least with what's out there now.
Okay.
So we're working on that. I actually just finished the express offers training. Uh,
Oh,
I don't know if it'll help them, but it's more for like fix and flips. But I'll know tomorrow once I can get access to the system.
okay. Good, good,
Mhm.
good. I know I have all that certification. I just haven't even gone in there and played around or plugged in with any of it. So you'll have to share with the group.
Yeah, it from the training, it looks like it's really towards fix and flips.
Okay,
So I've been looking for fixers for another client.
great.
Um, and I
What price
actually
range?
tried some
Yeah, what price range for that other fixer client?
up to 1 million.
Nice. Okay.
Mhm. Um, and I actually started something new this week. I'm gonna try it all of August, but I've never done mailers, like handwritten notes.
Oh,
I'm gonna try that instead of postcards because I realize that these guys get thrown away.
they do. Yeah,
So just to see if these open rates are a little better,
yeah.
I'm trying to do like 10 to 15 a day instead of cold calling because I don't have time for the cold calling.
Great,
Same.
great, great. Yeah, your consistency with mailers is going to have to just be consistent, whether it's postcard or handwritten. Handwritten always 90% of the time gets opened versus the others. Now, there was a realtor that I managed a couple of years back, and she's a super top producer. Income was in the just under 1 million every year. She was awesome, right? And she always did postcards, and she knew it was always going to go to the trash. But while it was in their hand from the mailbox to the trash, they knew she was selling properties, listing, selling, and even if it went in the trash, she knew it. That was just money she knew she was going to market and spend, and it was the consistency of doing it. So, is that the only marketing she did? For the most part, she did mailers, newsletters, I'm sorry, email. She did a lot of email newsletters, and she did postcards for the most part.
Okay.
But the rest of it was all like a lot of it was repeat business, but still. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not bad. I definitely do like the just sold. I got a new buyer lead from one of my just solds in
Nice.
Aromas, so that was good. Um, but yeah, just kind of playing with the different mediums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did this postcard one time for Just Sold, and I had a QR code on it, and the QR code took them to a site where they can scan it and get a home valuation on the spot. A rough estimate, right? And that QR code linked back to me, so that way whenever they scanned it, I got pinged to know that they were doing that. So that was my cue to give them a call and ask them if they wanted further valuation on the property, etc. So that I thought was very helpful for them to do. And because it was still kind of like a not invasive kind of way to get them the information. A lot of people are very skeptical or you know, at arm's length with people at
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. Cool, cool. Okay. Tell me, what questions do you have about anything?
No, I did have a question at one point. I actually just need to get on one of the trainings for the car forms. I keep scheduling them and not getting time to go on them. So I
Mhm.
need to get on that. There was one question that I did have. Let me see. Let me browse through my tabs. Sure, I'll find it.
Okay. Yeah, while you're doing that, so I have a major training tomorrow that I'm going to be doing with all of the new forms with all of the brokers. So I will next week have probably more information about that. And I do have some verbiage. I was helping Michelle with some, she has a listing coming up. And with the new, she said, do I use the EXP form, listing form, or do I use CAR? You can use either one. EXP obviously prefers you use EXP forms because they are way easier to read, way user-friendly, consumer-friendly, and they're shorter than typically than the CAR forms. It's fine either way, either one you can use, but there's specific language on the EXP form that says we don't share commissions. So if you're listing, we don't share. You are there's a space on there where if the seller is willing to pay a concession and commission to a buyer's agent, then there's a way to write that in on that listing agreement. And there's specific verbiage that you can use, and I have that. So I'll be sending that out to everybody. Mhm.
Good to know. Okay. Yeah, because we probably won't. Kind of depends. I'm just debating on the mobile home listing when we'll go active, but because we'll
Oh,
probably have to sign some new forms.
yeah. Well, so if it goes active prior to August 13th, then you can use what's in CAR right now and it'll be fine. However, you will need the rider to go along with it after the 13th. And I say the 13th because if it's ready to go in MLS will remove all the commission and concession fields by that date. So we'll have to have something regarding MLS for that. But the actual change for the law of the settlement is August 17th. So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then on the flip side, if you're representing any buyers, anything that's showing a commission in the MLS currently, which I checked today and it's still showing currently for the most part, just know that that's there, but you will want to follow up with an additional form. It's a commission agreement form that you can fill out just to double check, double ensure that you get paid.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I know. I think actually the other question I had jotted down was for express offers. So once I
Oh,
find out,
okay.
I can share with the group.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
it was about a marketing strategy that they mentioned for fixers that were not moving on the market already.
Mm,
So I think they might have specific guidance. So I'll find that out and then get back to you guys. But um, just gives buyers or sellers another option
it
in
does.
case they're not selling. So
Right. Yeah, that'll be interesting to find out. I've dealt with other platforms before where it was similar to Express Offers, but the other platforms were in a way that they had to talk with the seller first before it got listed on the market for them to give their offer to the seller. And if it didn't work out, then I could list the property. So I don't know if that's the same or not.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So a couple deals that I have going, I closed out my Sand Street, so that was wonderful. That was a good
Yeah,
one.
that's
That
good.
one, I was so thankful I had that backup offer in place. Which by the way, yeah, I don't know that I'll end up, well, I'll cut some stuff out of here. So there's that one, and then I have 806 Clubhouse listed, had an open house, had much smaller group sizes. So that's word on the street. What do open houses look like in different, necks of the woods in Santa Cruz County, Monterey County, Santa Clara County? That'll be interesting to see if you hold any open houses anywhere, because you saw what it was like on Sand, like overloaded, tons of
Mhm.
60 group, what, 40 to 60 groups of people, tons of people. Clubhouse only had 12 groups of people. I say only had 12 groups of people. That was still a lot of people coming in on Saturday. And then Sunday had about 14 groups. So, but vastly different in comparison. So what made the difference? Is it the market? Is it the type of property? This one's not on the beach. It's near the golf course. It's a fixer, etc. So we do have 2 offers on it though. So we're in,
Wow, that's good.
yeah, we're in counter on that one. So we'll see how that one turns out. And then working with 2 sets of buyers in Hollister and maybe one in Watsonville. So we'll see how all of that turns out. But it's interesting and having conversations with some of the other agents that I talk with, everybody's getting very strategic with how they structure their offers. There's a lot more loans than cash offers. Still cash offers in the over $1 million price range, but depending on the location, some properties are just sitting. If they're over 2 million, they're taking a little bit longer. Some that are in the 1 million to 1.9 range, depending on where they're at in condition, they can go pretty relatively quickly. I won't say all of them have multiple offers, but if you price it under where the market is telling people that they've gone pending or sold, if you price it under those numbers, you're probably going to get 1 or 2 or maybe more offers, depending on how risky the seller is willing to get with pricing it under. I feel like that still works, pricing it under. That one property in Watsonville on Stanford was priced under,
Yeah,
all under, and that one had so many offers on it. And yeah, and it's kind of nutty still.
yeah, it's a weird market.
I know it is a weird market. So one of the things I did want to share though was, and I think I started talking about this when at one of these mentee meetings when I ran out of time, but I wanted to touch back on it because I thought it was cool and it was new to me. I don't know if it's a new feature. I feel like I just found out about this feature and I really like it. So let's say I wanted to search for a property at, I'm just going to say here, this address. California, here we go. And so if you see, I had to type in almost all of the whole entire address for it to populate. Once it populates, then you have to click on the populated address. And then I can determine the radius around that address that I want to look for. So I want to start out with the closest proximity to that property. And so far it says there's 94 matches, but I'm gonna dial it in a little bit because I want to see all of the statuses, but I want to see everything from April. So I usually want to go back 3 months or so, not typically more than 3 months, but I'll just go this far back for the purpose of example here. And then I just copy that and I paste it in the rest of these fields. Whoops. And I'll just leave that. So now it shows me there's only 5 that have had any of those statuses since April. So let me take a look. So it shows 1 was withdrawn, 3 sold, and 1 is currently active. So that is pretty good. What if I bump it out just a little bit more to half a mile? That's still, so only 6. Okay,
Since last April?
since April, this April. So these here are great because they will show me, yeah, what's sold near this area now. And then I can always do, a quick CMA just to get an idea of what the different, stats are about these properties. So that's one way to do it. Or I can go all the way back and then I can, what if I wanted to, where was the other way I did it? What if the other way to do it would be clear. There. What if I did? Nope, doesn't like that. Okay, what if I do? I think it doesn't like it when I go backwards like that. Let me try it this way. Go back. So I just type in the address. You can search for properties up here and it will tell you different locations for that specific road. You never want to put in road, street, lane, any other words besides the address number and the street name. Otherwise, it won't give you anything. So this one's giving me information for everywhere that there is a Hillcrest Road. But let's say I wanted to, this is still not showing me what I wanted to show you. Let's see. What if I go back to criteria? Hang on. Criteria. 24 Hillcrest. Oh, I know why, because I didn't do that. Oh no, it's going to give me the same thing. Hang on. What I'm trying to do is find that little button that says comps. Ugh, hang on. Let me try it a different way. Residential.
Is it the one that shows up when it's just property specific?
I think so, yeah. And it shows it up here on top.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's try this one. Nope. It's not that one. Where did I put it? Okay, so you have to open it up. Okay, so I opened it up, right? Here it is. That's what it is. View comparable properties. That's what it is. So I want to see the comparable properties to this one. And this will show me all the comparable properties. This one shows me 20 comparable properties to this one, ranging from 580 all the way up to 2 million. And so this is great for when you have a listing appointment or you want to get a comp for a possible listing, you have an address, then you can go here. And this is kind of a quick and dirty way to find properties that recently sold, and you can see the distance from where this one is. This happens to be a country property, so going out 3.9 miles isn't unheard of. That's not weird at all. If the property was in the city limits, I might not want to go 5 miles out if it puts me out into the country. So you just want to be careful with the properties that you select. So I know some of these, like on Patton, could potentially be similar like property, definitely Lewis and Vega, because I know that this street is off of Lewis and Vega as an example, Rifle Range maybe. And then I would go into the bed bath counts and then the acreage. Because these are country properties, I'm going to want property that is closest to the acreage that the subject property is in. So this is where I would find that information. But I thought this was really cool to be able to, and you can just click a real quick report, and you can even send something like this, and you can select the ones that you want for your client, and then you can email this over to them, or you can pick and choose which ones you want, and then you can just let them know, here's a snapshot of what's actually selling within a mile or within 4 miles of your home. And it will tell them if they're single families, what the property addresses are, what the list price is, or the sales price, how many days on market it was, etc. So this is a pretty valuable tool, and this is something that you can use where if you don't use all of the actual addresses and you use just a few, you can even print out the first page or the second page, or one of these pages of information, something like this that shows where they are to the subject property. This big blue balloon is the subject property, and here's where all the other properties are. If you wanted to get rid of some of these out here in the Los Alamos area, you could, and just leave the ones that are closest to the property on this report. And this is something that you can direct mail out to those homeowners, and you can let them know you just sold a property in a specific area, or maybe you have a buyer, like your fixer buyer, and you know that they're looking for particular properties. Well, maybe you can reach out to some of these addresses as well. That's one way to think about having a tool, a valuable tool to be able to share with a potential seller or a current homeowner that you maybe recently sold property to. Do this around their properties, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and see what the market looks like in their area. Obviously, you will want to share it with them if it's increased in value for them. I don't know that you would want to share it with them if they did not, if the property values were getting lower and they bought really high, you might not want to share that with them.
Yeah.
But this gives them a really good bird's eye view of like, okay, good, this property is coming up in value or going down. And always you want to let your clients know that there's going to be some fluctuation. It's never just going to be a steady up with equity. There's going to be some plateaus, maybe a little bit of dips here and there, but overall, typically it's a steady rise in equity usually. So, and then we have the cycles in real estate, like every 20 years, it should adjust kind of significantly. So anyways, I thought that was a really cool tool that I wanted to share with you. And then what else did I want to share? Then I think what I want to do next time around, and I've been wanting to do it, is show everybody how to do a listing in MLS. I mean, I guess I can start and just show you how you would do it. You click on Manage Listings on that matrix side, and then you can either view it plain, or you can do tile on, and it'll show you all these things. Create a new regular listing, create a members only listing, clone a listing, add a multi-class listing. This is if you have multi-residential or multi-class, meaning it's commercial and residential. You can do it here. If you have a new exclusion on your listing, if you just wanted to, let's say you sold a property and it was off market, you can create it for comps only, which is always helpful to agents whenever you have an off market property that sells that's not in the MLS. You always want to put in the comps. And this is a great feature that they have, because you can just enter your 123 Main Street, sold for $1 million, 0 concessions, or maybe now we can't even say that. So there's that. And then you can edit your listings from here if you wanted to. So I have mine. If I looked at mine through this view, you can see that I have it right here, Clubhouse. But if I wanted to edit it, all I would have to do is go in to edit it right here. But what's cool is if I just wanted to create a new regular listing, I would do it here, and then I would select the type of class. So like for you, you would be clicking on mobile home as an example. And then let's just pretend, because I can always delete it. I'm going to say it's a single wide, but maybe it's a double wide.
Mhm.
Anywhere there's an asterisk, you're going to want to make sure you fill in. If you don't, this platform is very good about saying, I can't give you an MLS until you complete all these items here. So if I said, let's see here, let's just pretend I actually wanted to go all the way to the very end and check for errors. See on the right-hand side, it just populated all of these items, 39 areas, 39 errors, and that I need to fix. And I could do one by one here. I can click on each one and it'll take me straight to it. Or I can go to, I can click next, 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 and it'll take me through every section. So I could just go here and then it highlights and text and it lets me know exactly where the error is. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either enter in the address or a parcel number, or you can have real list data pull up the information for the property address, and then it'll populate everything and it'll say, does this look right? And if it does, then great. The other thing you always want to make sure is you want to be able to move this little red balloon, because the map does not always come up where it's supposed to. So you can move it where it needs to be moved. And that's really important for people who actually rely on this specific map. And that's happened to me before. It actually happened when I was working for a builder. And when they have tracts of land that they're building on, the address doesn't populate properly. So I had to make sure I moved that little balloon. I didn't know this because I didn't move the balloon, and people were trying to find the site from San Jose to Santa Cruz, and it just was taking them to like the Santa Cruz Mountains because the little bubble wasn't in the right location. That's when I found out, oh, you could move it. So that's how I know you could move it. So
Okay.
there's that. And then, beds, baths, and it's very paint by the number. It tells you, and you can always add in more information than what is necessary. You will find that there are agents that only do the red little stars just to get through. It's pretty much bare bones. It gives what you need, bare bones. It's up to you, depending on the property. Maybe you want a lot of people to call you about the property, or maybe it's such a fantastic property. There's so much to share about it. You can't tell it all because there are all those types of properties. Then maybe that's where you would want to add in, oh, this specific school district, well, the school district you have to, but this specific school, this specific middle school, et cetera. If there's space rent, how much is the space rent? What's, is it in the city limits? You can add all the extra stuff in here that you want to, or not. It's completely up to you. And then when we get all the way down to the photos, you'll have your photos already taken. MLS wants you to at least have one photo. You have to have one photo within 1 day of posting the MLS. They hate it when you don't put a picture on there. If you don't put a picture on there, they might actually call you or email you and fine you if you don't put a photo. So you have to put at least one photo, even if your photographer hasn't come out yet. And if you listed it today, but your photography is not happening until Friday, you have to at least find the best photo you can from across the street that shows the best, picture of that house. Just put one in there, and then you can always trash it once you get all your other photos. You just grab them and drop them in, grab them and drop them in right here on this side. And then you can't do the open houses until you actually finish the whole thing and it verifies it and gives you an MLS. Once it gives you an MLS number, then you can go back in here and edit it. And once you edit it, you can manage your open houses and your broker tour from there. If you have a property site, 123mainstreet.com, and you have a link to it, you can add it here. Branded versus unbranded is exactly what it sounds like. So if you have something with your ZG logo on it, that's going to be branded. If you have one that doesn't have it, that's going to be unbranded. So you could put those in there. If you have pay for that Matterport 3D tours, you can add those links in here as well. And then public remarks always are very restrictive, and they will fine you if you put anything in there like call agent or reach out to agent for showings. They don't want it to, it's so weird and random, but they don't want the public to reach out to you directly. You have to only talk about the house in the public remarks. So there's that. And then, do you want this on the internet? Yes. So all of these are going to be yes, unless the seller is, you have that high-end property, a very confidential private person, and they don't want their property listed. It happens. One of our mentees had a listing in Hollister. I remember he did not want his property listed in the MLS because he had neighbor issues. And so he didn't want the neighbor to know that his house was listed. I don't know that, I think that ended up falling apart, if I remember correctly, but it happens where they don't want it listed. So that is also, though, in the listing agreement, letting them know you get the most exposure if you put it in MLS. For the most part, you really do. And then IDXR, once it's completely done, there's a section you can go to in MLS to just make sure that it is broadcasted out. Usually anything that's in the MLS goes out to over 900 different websites. Are they all listed? No. But I forgot where it was a long time ago. I actually did see a list ages ago, but they push it out. Yahoo.com, homes.com, like all the websites you go to that grab the information from one place to another. That's how it gets sent out to all those different locations. This probably is going to change and look different on the 13th. So I don't know what this will look like at all for compensation. And there's some agents that are already, and EXP even said you can right now, like if you listed your mobile home tomorrow, you could put nothing in here. There's dollar amount you could do. I think it'll let you do zero. If it doesn't let you do zero, it'll let you do $1. I remember there was an agent that was doing that a couple years ago, and she was already kind of had the queue on what was going to be happening. So she was already doing $1 on there, and agents had to work for it or, ask their clients to pay. And I just remember agents around her not happy with her for doing that. But now the tables have turned and things have changed, and now everybody will be putting zero or $1 or nothing, or until it changes, they can add something in there if they want to. If you have the NHD already ordered, you can put, flood zone, C report if it's in a flood zone, fault zone. We're in California, there's earthquakes everywhere usually, right? Even if you're in San Juan Bautista on the fault line, you could still just say C report, because you're not an expert in geologicals. You want the NHD report to spell that out for them. And if you have none, well, at some point you will, because that is a statutory disclosure for a seller to give to a buyer, is the NHD, and as is lead-based disclosure. So if it was pre-1978, you have to have the lead-based disclosure. If it was after that, you don't need it. But people just are used to putting it in there anyways. If there's other disclosures, this lets you know others. So if you are working with a foreclosure or a short sale, or I was going to say probate, but there's another section for probate, but pending litigation, if the agent is related to the seller, etc. So there's a lot of different things. It's good, even though there's not an asterisk next to it, the little red star, you still want to click on it to see, well, what does this mean actually? Maybe it does pertain to this particular property, maybe not. So using aligned showings to manage, you can say yes or no to this. So this is where people can actually make the appointment through the MLS, and they can click on the link and you can set it up so that they can make appointments to go look at the property. You could do that even if it's vacant, just so you can see who is going in there. Because unless you set up your lockbox to gather that information, you won't necessarily know who's walking into the home. So it's always good. And sometimes it's a good idea to do that anyways for safety precautions. There is an agent who always says appointment only on the properties, or on the actual yard sign, it says appointment only, even though it's vacant. She does that for a reason, because it will keep bad guys away, bad people away who maybe want to break into the property and vandalize. It will put a stop to that, because people think that the home is occupied. So, and I think there was not there was a handful of that happening at one point in time. And I remember people, NAR had put something out there saying, hey, be very careful, be cautious, maybe it's not a good idea, or the associations were saying it's probably not a good idea to say vacant in the comments or anywhere that the public can see that it's vacant, because you could get squatters, you can get kids breaking in to party in a house. There's so many things that can happen. You can get people, there was a time where people would break in and steal the copper wiring out of the walls and really damage the walls, the sheetrock and everything. So anything can happen, but it's a good idea to take a look at the different boxes that are available, even if there's not a red asterisk, just to see if it's something that you want to fill out or not. Showing instructions, here's this here. Is it 24-hour notice? Is it tenant occupied? Is there a manager on site? Is it do not disturb? Do they work nights? And do they really have to have scheduled blocks of time where they'll show it? Maybe pets, see remarks. If there's pets in the house and they don't want their pets to run outside, then make sure you put a note in there. Don't let the golden retriever run out the front door, or the cat, or whatever. Or maybe it's a good idea, if you are representing somebody who has pets in the house, to let them know that you will have appointments, and if they can secure the pets ahead of time, or if they have a pen, or keep them in the garage or something. And then if you do put pets in the garage and you're going to have the conversation with your seller, put a note on the garage door: pets in garage, do not open door, something to that nature. Usually people won't do that. You always have the people that just got to see anyways, but you can do as much control as you possibly can, or at least share that information with your client as much as you can. Especially if there's a security system, you want to make that known, and you definitely want people to do not go direct or call you first, right? They're going to do not disturb occupants. They're going to security system. You're going to want them to call you, appointment only, first. So that way you can give them the code and the instruction on, as soon as you get in the house, go down the hall, turn to the left, and the code is 1, 2, 3, or something, whatever it is. You need to let them know that. Do you have any questions so far?
No, no questions.
Okay, good. It's pretty intuitive. So if you get stuck, let me know if you have any questions about it. But I think I've been doing this for a long time. So to me, it's easy breezy, but you can always get stuck, or you might have a question like, what does that actually mean? Some of these things, or I don't know, like foundation is like, well, you're doing a manufactured home, mobile home.
Yeah.
If it's a house, is it on a slab? Is it on a concrete perimeter? Is it on post and pier? You're like, oh my God, I have no idea. So usually when you have to walk up 3 steps, usually, or a couple steps to the front door, it's usually on a concrete perimeter foundation. If you walk straight into the front door, it's usually on a slab. So that was a
Yeah.
cheat sheet way of how I learned. If you can roll your wheelchair right into the front door, then you probably on a slab. But even still, some of them are even on concrete perimeters, because even though they're on a slab, if you see a vent down there, there still might be some crawl space to some degree. So that would maybe there's a perimeter of concrete and not a slab, or a portion of the house is on a slab and not all of it. So things to You'll have fun. Yeah, just let me know if you have any questions.